Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pairfect, the ultimate lifestyle show where we celebrate the visionaries shaping our world. I'm Dinah Ventura. Today, we're excited to introduce a guest who embodies the essence of holistic wellness. Our featured practitioner specializes in energy healing and space clearing, helping individuals reconnect with their intuitive selves. With a background in a family of mediums, she founded Soul Spa PH for transformative readings and healing sessions. Her approach clears emotional blocks and fosters personal growth, reminding us that everyone has intuitive potential. Passionate about guiding others, she believes that support from higher realms empowers us to reclaim our peace and purpose. So without further ado, let's welcome the incredible Katrina Holigores.
Wow, thank you. Incredible. I feel like I
Incredible.
should come in here flying.
Actually, I think you're incredible.
Oh, thank you.
I first got to know of
Mm-hmm.
you when you were still in the publishing world.
Yeah, an old life.
An old life. I'm so curious how you got into this practice. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I think, like you, as you said in your introduction, I come, if you want to say, from a family of mediums. I feel that the women and the men in my family have always been sensitive to like the esoteric. So, starting my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, I remember she could feel certain things. My mom's cousin, who she was very close to, was kind of like our family medium because
Oh, wow.
we would talk to her about angels. She would help us commune with the sick or the dying. If we had somebody in the hospital who wasn't conscious, she could talk. My mom's eldest brother was into faith healing, so I've always been in that world. So it was never like a strange thing for me.
I see.
And I guess my education in it became formalized after I left the magazine because my first teacher decided to open up classes to help, those interested to learn, let's say, pranic healing, energetic healing, healing with crystals. And this was back in, I'm going to say maybe 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into it. And I found an affinity to it, and
Okay.
it's been kind of like an on and off thing ever since.
Okay.
Yes.
So, like, what kind of clients do you take?
Oh, I think basically anybody who is open-minded enough to get guidance if they feel like they're in some kind of cyclical problem or issue that they can't seem to get out of, or if they feel the space where they live or where they work has, things that may be blocking, like success or flow or harmony, then I'm happy to talk to them, and yeah,
Okay, so I think there's been like an increasing interest
sure.
in the esoteric, right?
Yes.
But for those not familiar with this practice, can you explain to us what energy healing and space clearing
Yeah,
involves?
absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess the simplified way of looking at it is, energy is everywhere. So it doesn't have to be like something necessarily esoteric. It's
Okay.
like you yourself, because you tend to work with a lot of people. You come into a room and you can automatically feel drawn to certain people and
Right.
repelled by certain people.
Yes.
Yeah, right? And it's the same way when you go into a space, you could feel like, oh, I feel at home here, or I feel like there's something that's a little
Yeah.
iffy. Yes,
Uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. So that's basically how energy works. So
Okay.
I try to help and guide those who feel like, I'm not feeling myself, I'm getting sick, I feel weak, or I feel stuck. And I help clear these energies by doing different modalities that will help unblock them, take out any weaknesses, limitations. I also give them exercises and homework
Okay.
to make sure that there's more flow. I do the same thing with spaces, so it could be something as simple as there's not enough, let's say, sunlight that comes in, or there's a lot of, how do you call it, junk in the space, and junk attracts junk. So sometimes it's
Yes.
really about even clearing things on a physical level, and that already increases like
The
the
flow.
vibrations of that place that you live or work in.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what are the most common misconceptions about this practice, energy clearing or space clearing?
I mean, I guess because we do live in a Catholic country,
Yeah.
some people feel that it may not be like a godlike thing or
Yeah.
a holy thing. But
Uh,
I tend to disagree because I feel that, all of us are products of love,
right.
whether you believe in a dogmatic God or in the
Mm-hmm.
universe.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have a right to have that kind of love and that freedom and that
Mm-hmm.
flow.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people think it's a little bit of like witchcraft, and we go in and we do like a ritual. We can, some
Oh,
do. I mean, some do because that helps. It's their tool.
yeah.
And I think also some people feel like it's like a scary practice. And absolutely, there are some negative entities and spirits that you can
Oh.
encounter. But I always feel that nothing is stronger than God. Nothing is stronger than your faith in the universe. And if you
Mm-hmm.
come from that, knowing that you are been put on this earth to be a good person, a happy person,
Mm-hmm.
then that's how the energy healing or the space clearing works to its optimal level.
I see. Very nice. Also, it's not really against religion, as like some
No,
people would
absolutely
think,
not.
right?
No, no. And I'm very careful. So I
Mm-hmm.
always ask them what their faith is because I
Mm-hmm.
never want them to feel pressured that
Mm-hmm.
they have to believe the way I believe.
Yes.
It has to be comfortable for them because if
Mm-hmm.
it isn't, then
Mm-hmm.
it's not sustainable in their daily life.
Do you have like a memorable story about somebody's life being transformed because of how you helped them?
It was funny. I just came from a lunch today, and one
Uh-huh.
of my friends was telling me that I went into her house when she had just moved in,
Mm-hmm.
and her spouse was having some issues because he had some health issues which
Okay.
affected his moods, his
Ah.
temperament.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so she says that ever since I went there and I casually told her to put
Mm-hmm.
something in one of the rooms that he would always frequent, she
Mm-hmm.
says that since then, and she did it, she looked back at it in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, since then,
Oh.
he's transformed. Like he's no longer as volatile.
Mm-hmm.
His health issues have diminished.
Mm-hmm.
And, until today, like she says, that it makes her hair stand, realizing that that simple shift was something that was almost a 180-degree turn for her husband. And of course, that helps the relationship, right? It helps
Yeah,
the
of
relationship
course.
between the spouses, between the children, and the overall dynamic of where you're living.
So really, what did you do exactly with that space?
I said that in this particular area, because of what he's going through, it would be good to have something that had running water. So it could be like a fountain, it could be an
Yeah.
aquarium, it could be something that had to have
And
live
it
water.
really worked.
She says it,
Galing.
it, it did, so I'm going to believe her.
Yeah.
And she,
Nice.
uncannily enough, she just said it to me this morning over lunch. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, so I suppose you've had other stories like that about a simple shift, as you were saying.
Yeah.
So it
Um,
really doesn't take much to.
It doesn't take much, but some things take time because it's a
Mm-hmm.
weird concept, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
weird concept. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm not like somebody who's going to come in with a vacuum and clean, right? And clean the dust mites from your couch. It also
Uh,
needs an openness from the person getting consultation to
okay.
believe that these things can work.
Right.
And if I go in there and they don't agree with, let's say, the cures or the fixes, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to force them. I can only recommend,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's up to them.
Yeah, so yes, a lot of like my previous interviews earlier today is about really the person working on
Yes,
themselves
sure.
to make anything happen,
Sure,
right?
yes, of
So you're just
course.
really paving the way
Mm-hmm.
for people. Okay, so you mentioned earlier that you come from a family where this is very normal, the spiritual, the esoteric. A lot of people are getting curious about that too, and I was just wondering, like, how can somebody tap into their own intuitive
Intuition?
potential? Yeah.
I think to not overthink it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, let's say if they are, for example, a parent. Okay,
Okay.
let's make it the most basic.
Yeah.
A parent somehow feels connected to their child.
Yes.
That's already intuition. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like a mother or a father feels like, my son or my daughter is sick,
Mm-hmm.
or I think there's trouble going on in school. That's
Mm-hmm.
already intuition.
Okay.
So the best way to tap into that is to be able to find time to quiet your mind.
Uh-huh.
So you're able to listen to what's going on.
Yeah. No?
Yeah.
Oh, we're just so filled with noise, like everywhere.
Always.
So
Especially
distracting.
now. Yeah,
So,
especially now.
so when people go to you to have a consultation or
Mm-hmm.
something, what can they expect with a session with you? Like, what
Um,
happens?
Well, if it's a one-on-one session with me, which normally happens online, I prefer my client to be in the privacy of his or her own room in the event that they get a little emotional or it's something very private. So at the end of the session, if they want to have a cry or they get a little tired after it, they can go to bed and sleep. Well, first is, basically me introducing myself, what I do, and what I plan to do during the session. And then it's basically them maybe talking to me, and then I can do several modalities. The simplest one is where I have like cards that have like energetic fractals on it, and I look at them and I say, this is what's going on in your life right now, and this is what's causing it, and this is what we can do to sort of help it.
Okay.
So then they can tell me, okay, yes, that makes sense, or no, can you explain more?
Okay.
And then we keep on going until it's cleared. If it's a space clearing, then they either, if it's a remote, let's say abroad, then they send me photos of the house, they tell me what's going on, and I
Okay.
give them an audio recording. If it's somewhere local and it's within their budget, then I'm brought to that space and I tell them what's going on, and I give them my recommendations of what can be done in order for them to say to have better relationships between their employees, for example, or maybe a way to have more abundance,
Right.
etc.
So it's really something that they need to happen that makes people go to you.
I guess so. I guess it's like a point, because I feel like I'm the last step, right? They've probably consulted with all sorts of people, and maybe they're just feeling it's still not working for me. So why don't I try something else? So I'm the something else. Okay.
Let's try it. Why not?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, very interesting. Let's talk more about exactly all the other things you do, but
Oh,
after
okay.
a short break.
And this break is brought to you by Bayad Center. Hashtag bigger, better, younger bayad. And you can buy it all. Meralco, ang liwanag ng bukas. SM, we've got it all for you. Smart, live more today. Union Bank, it starts with you.
Tune in to Daily Tribune's show aimed at addressing the needs and problems of our OFWs from different corners of the globe. Hear about their plights and success stories every Tuesday and Thursday, 3 p.m. only on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube.
Straight Talk dives deep into present issues of leadership, politics, business, and more. Engage in insightful conversations with industry shakers, government leaders, and trailblazers every Wednesday at 10 a.m. only here on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube.
Utol, once just a colloquial term for a brother or sister. Today, the same term stands for a better option to your transportation needs. Unified Transport Operations League, or better known as UTOL, was established to give you an alternative to ride-hailing, with the concept of availing the service with care and compassion, as if it was rendered by your own sibling.
Utol ka ba? Dito ka na. Utol ka, iingatan kita.
Now, who would you prefer to drive you home?
Utol ako, mangangalaga sa'yo.
UTOL, the ride-hailing app to consider.
Welcome back to Pairfect. We're still here with Katrina Holigores talking about space clearing
Yes.
and energy.
And energy healing, yes.
Okay. So, can you share a simple manifestation technique that people can practice on their own?
Yeah, sure. I think the first thing is to think about what it is you want to manifest, and you don't have to go too big right away. So it's very simple. Like
Sample.
an exercise I would do is just think of the next day. So let's say today you're gonna go to bed. Before you go to bed, write down 5 simple things that you want to achieve tomorrow. And this can be as simple as you're going to find, let's say, the perfect cup of coffee if you drink coffee, or you're going to have the most wonderful breakfast. So think of those 5 things, okay? And then when you wake up, before you attend to other things, like I'm sure you live in a household where maybe if there's a parent, a child, a sibling that needs your attention, stop first and focus on what you want to achieve first. And if you can do one of those 5 things, then
Right
that's
away.
already the beginning of manifestation.
Oh, Oh, do you practice that every day?
I mean, I would love to say that I practice what I preach, but not all the time. But at least I know I have the tool in my back pocket. So when I'm at a point where, okay, I need to like set my goals for New Year or Chinese New Year, then I think, okay, these are the things I would like to achieve, and then I practice again small. It's like going back to the gym, and you don't go and lift the heavy right away. You sort of warm up. So that
Yeah.
is the simplest, to have
Okay.
5 simple things, and then when you hone that muscle, that manifestation muscle, so to speak, then you can go bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's a good advice. So, speaking of Chinese New Year, that's
Yeah, the
January
29th,
29 already.
yeah.
So, I'm sure you're getting a lot of clients for space clearing.
Yeah.
So, how do you approach that practice when it comes to homes and work environments?
Well, the first thing I make clear is that I'm not a licensed geomancer. So if they want feng shui, then I'm not the person to
It's
talk
different.
to.
Is that
It's
completely
different because
different?
feng shui, I want to respect those who study feng shui, because it's and geomancy, because it's actually years of study. There's things you need to get credited. I mean, it's a little bit more of, if you want to call it, there's more of a system than what I do. So first I'll make that clear. I go, if you want feng shui, then I'm not the one. I can always recommend you people. But how I approach it is I'll be like, okay, for one, I'll say, how long have you been living in this space, or how long have you been working in this space? What would you like to achieve? So like, what is the goal? And then from there, we talk about the size, we talk about what's going on, if there's been anything that they wish to shift, or if it's just an improvement or an enhancement. And then we set an appointment. Obviously, we work within the budget of the client.
Yeah.
And then we set a time and a date for me to go over to that space if it is local, or unless they fly me there. I've been fortunate enough that clients have flown me to their spaces. And then we go through maybe half a day of what needs to be done. And then I normally give my sort of my reading for the whole year.
Okay.
So what I do is, okay, if we see each other, let's say Jan 20, I go within that 1 year period, I can have one follow up after, let's say, if there were cures or improvements that need to be done, to see if they're working.
Okay.
Because if they're not working within that 1 year period, then there's time to shift. So that's part of the service for the space clearing.
I see. And what have been the most common mistakes that people make with their space?
The most common mistake that I've seen is a lot of unused, broken equipment, furniture, that have been, unused. Yeah,
aside.
it's like the same thing. It's like your
Guilty.
body. It's like your body, right? If you fill it with junk or things that are not nutritious, at one point your body will start to break down. It's the same with where you live. If every time you enter, let's say, your house, and all you see are the things that are like should be in the garbage, or maybe given away or repaired, it does something to you, right? Because you don't come home to a place that's restful. You come home and you say, oh my gosh, all these wires, or the chair is broken.
Oh, like a lamp that hasn't been
Exactly.
working
Yeah.
for a while.
Yes, exactly. Or like you see that maybe the door is broken and something needs to be repainted. You see cracks. I mean, that plays on you, even on a sort of subconscious level, because you
Yeah.
don't come home to something that is solid and
Right.
can hold you. You go in and you're like, I need to paint that. Or I need to fix it. Or you're walking towards your kitchen and you're stepping over stuff that
Yeah,
is
that's
junk.
bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good reminder, everyone. Just clear up all the junk.
Yeah, I mean, they say clear space to allow more of the stuff you want in.
Right. But on a practical note, I mean, households may want to do that, but where do you put the trash? Like, if you want to be sustainable about it.
I mean, if it's equipment that you no longer need, you can donate it, you can sell it. If it's like, stuff that you don't use at all, I mean,
Yeah.
throw it.
Right. I think I should research and come out with a list of where you can donate, right?
Yeah. Or I mean, like, there are places that also pick up old appliances and furniture, and sometimes they're used by vocational and technical schools.
Right.
Or there might be some organizations that might need like another ref or a
Right.
table or office chairs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good practice. Clear up every year.
Yeah.
Regularly.
For sure.
So that's a form of self-care, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what can you say about that? Increasing awareness for self-care among Filipinos?
I mean, I think that's why there's an increasing awareness, because people are realizing that they have to live for themselves. You know, there's a tendency for us to give out so much,
Yeah.
and then the well is empty, so to speak, and then they wonder why they're not energetic enough, they're not inspired. It's because there's nothing left.
Yeah.
They've given it all out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, I've noticed that about people nowadays. Like, it's like going back to the self na.
Yeah.
Diba? What advice can you give those who who would want to do that, to start something that would fulfill them?
I mean, I guess they have to also reflect on what first they are grateful for, because we always look for the mistakes and where we could have done something different or better. But if your initial thing is, okay, there are again certain things that I've achieved in the last year that I'm very proud and I'm grateful for. The first thing is that to look first at the things that you are happy about and grateful for. That's where it starts.
Yeah, and then I guess that would also affect how you deal with the family or
Absolutely.
workmates.
And how they deal with you, because if they see that you're grateful and whole and more at peace, then that's also what you attract into your space.
I think we need to be reminded about that, people. Like, sometimes we just get so tired or stressed. We hardly ever think about how we feel about
Yeah.
things. Diba? Parang, too tiring.
Yeah,
Parang
we set it aside. So we tend to not look at ourselves with the same amount of love that we give to each other or to somebody else.
Because at the core of it, that's what we all want, right? That's the
Absolutely,
love.
yeah.
Interesting. Thank you, Katrina.
Oh, you're very welcome, and thank you too.
I hope to talk to you some more about all these
Sure.
things we need to clear out of our system. But
Anytime.
for now, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Maybe you would like to impart a message to our viewers today.
Okay, well, it's the start of the year and, new beginnings for everybody. And that could mean so many things to so many different people. Just realize that life is always going to have their moments where you feel like it's not working for you. So I would like to remind everybody that, there are many things that you probably thought you couldn't achieve a year ago or 5 years ago. So to focus on that, and that will help you realize that, you are deserving of all the wonderful stuff that you did achieve, that you did experience in those last, let's say, 12 months. And you will achieve more in these coming next 12 months.
Yes. Wow. That's very encouraging. Thank you.
Thank you, too. Thank you.
On behalf of Pairfect, we would like to thank you, Katrina, for illuminating our understanding of energy healing today.
Thank you for being open-minded enough to listen to
We
me.
find it so fascinating, really, to see how these practices can help us reconnect with our intuition and foster a sense of inner calm, which I think we all need. So to our viewers, keep in mind that exploring your energy isn't just a trend. It's a powerful journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Consider it a chance to clear away the clutter and make room for your true self to emerge. This is Dinah Ventura inviting you to embrace your unique path. Every experience contributes to the vibrant tapestry of who you are. Until we meet again, continue to shine brightly and stay open to new adventures.
This public service announcement is brought to you by Meralco.
Alam nyo ba kung saan napupunta ang binabayad nyo sa Meralco? Dito sa series na ito, isa-isahin natin yan para maipaliwanag ko po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Joe Saldariaga ng Meralco Corporate Communication Office. Alam nyo ba na pag nagbabayad kayo ng bill sa kuryente, nasa mga 20% lang on the average ang napupunta sa Meralco? Sa katotohanan, nahahati sa iba't ibang components ang inyong electricity bill. Kumbaga parang pizza lang yan. Kasama sa binabayaran natin ay ang generation charge na napupunta sa generation companies o mga nag-ooperate ng power plants, transmission charge na napupunta sa System Grid Operator ng Pilipinas, na National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, at iba-ibang charges na napupunta sa gobyerno Tulad po ito ng mga subsidies, taxes, universal charges at fit-all. Kung tutuusin, tulad nga nabanggit ko, nasa around 20% on the average ang kabuang bill ang binabayad sa Meralco sa pamamagitan ng distribution charge. Ito na ang pinaka-epektibong sistema para sa electricity consumers. Iwas abala ito para hindi na isa-isahin pang bayaran ng iba't ibang kumpanya na dinadaanan ng kuryente. Naway, nabigyan linaw ko po kayo kahit papano sa inyong mga katunungan ukol sa inyong electricity bill. Hanggang sa muli, ako po si Manong Joe, ang inyong lingkod.